I'm Carl Lee.
I'm Jaysen Headley.
And this is First Impressions. Basically, we're going to do our first impressions of something. Not impressions of people, but impressions of things that we just read or seen. So what's first impressions? Basically, first impressions is what I think about when, people don't actually have a lot of time or all this time spent on watching something or, over weeks or playing something for a really long time or having this huge investment in a property or some album or whatever it may be we're reviewing, and that's literally what we're getting from seeing, hearing, playing it for the very first time, and what aren't we getting, which will change on a second viewing or playing more or reading more or thinking about it. So it's literally our first impressions,
so
will potentially change.
Yeah, we're going to come into this not even talking to each other about it. So the hope is that as we read something and then come right out here and film it, is that maybe we will even bring up things that the other person didn't even think about, because we're not even going to talk to each other. There's not going to be any, it's just going to be our first impressions, and then right off the bat.
And so today, we are going to do our first impression on Wonder Woman number 30. Oh, I almost thought it was the wrong number.
Oh, no.
Number 30. We just read it together, literally together.
Like 2 minutes ago, just finished it.
First impressions.
Am I going first?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I actually thought this issue was a little bit slower than the last issue. The last issue had so much tension and hype going with bringing the Amazons back and kind of moving the story forward. In fact, I thought reading the last issue, not knowing where this arc from Brian Azzarello is going to end, I thought that this was going to be the end of his arc, of his run, because the last issue felt so penultimate. But this issue kind of slowed things down a little bit and dealt more with the Amazons and them not really trusting Wonder Woman. I mean, we've seen Wonder Woman go through a lot of changes, from being the god of war to now being queen of her people. So it's really cool to see more of like a political kind of thriller side. I liked it, but not as much the last issue, and I'm interested to see what happens.
Oh, okay. But in any case, I think we should also mention that we're probably going to there's going to be spoilers. So if you haven't read it yet and you want to
now that I just told you the entire issue, what happens?
Oh well, basically that's how it's going to be.
We'll put like a spoiler alert or something.
Let's see. For me, I've read a lot of issues consecutively before this one, and I kind of agree that it did kind of all of a sudden like slow down, like it was building up, and now it's like, oh, it's gonna expand. Like it's almost as if like they're like, can you make it longer and not cut to the chase so quickly? Well, I'm sure it was planned. I thought it was very interesting that the Amazons didn't trust her and stuff like that. I didn't anticipate that. I thought they'd be like, oh my god, Wonder Woman, and be really happy. Your minute's up.
Oh, my minute's up. Great.
There was one thing I thought was kind of interesting when Zola, is that her name? I don't say these people's names out loud, so I
Zola.
can never tell if I'm saying them right. When she was walking on the beach with Wonder Woman here, my first thought was, when I first started reading this series, I wondered, like, who the hell is this Zola chick? This is Wonder Woman's title. It started with a new ¡1, but they introduced this, random blonde-haired girl, and I thought, who is she? But then, obviously, as it played on, I didn't care. I got used to her, and it wasn't an issue or anything. But now, when I looked at it, and I thought, what if she ends up being Wonder Girl? And
I didn't even think about that.
Yeah,
and and
at that time when I was reading this part, I thought this would be such a more organic way to introduce the Teen Titans or a member of the Teen Titans or Wonder Girl in general in the new 52.
Yeah.
In fact, they should have did that with all of Teen Titans, is just not introduce them yet.
Just introduce them really slowly within those
like
books.
Introduce those major characters too and have them show up and then become the Teen Titans versus them kind of just randomly out in the world and then getting together and deciding to be Teen Titans and somewhat related to Wonder Woman or Superman, whatever. But I think they would have been much more successful with Teen Titans if they had released the first issue around now, coming out of things like this, like for Wonder Woman, like if she became Wonder Girl or something.
Yeah.
We're just gonna keep talking.
Yeah, I definitely want to mention Hades in this issue. I thought was definitely it was great to see him again, because I feel like it's been a while since we saw him. And, I mean, we already said we're going to share spoilers, but there's a last page where basically his fire is blown out. And does that mean he's dead? Is that what that is? Is he like Charmander? Like his fire goes out and then there's no more? I don't.
That would really suck.
Really don't know how that. I mean,
a child could kill him.
Really, yeah. He's like a birthday cake. Like I don't know, but I really did actually love the last scene. Like it just had a very good cliffhanger feel to it.
Yeah, I highly doubt that killed him, but I think that's a really cool idea that you probably can't normally blow that out. I would think that you wouldn't be able to, and so for him to be able to is probably shocking, to him, and I doubt it would kill him, but it makes you, I don't know, every issue is making me want to know exactly what's going to happen next, so that's great.
Yeah, I definitely, like I said before, I actually, now that we've talked about it more, I like that there's more to this story than just now the Amazons are off to defeat the big bad guy. I think that was kind of cool that now there's a few more levels that we still have to deal with. So, and I loved, the imagery in this issue was really great at the beginning of the issue with Poseidon and Hades, and at the end of the issue with Hades' fire being blown out. I thought those two images were really, really fantastic as a kind of bookend to the issue.
So, do you think it's good that the Amazons should, I don't know, accept the outside world now? I think it really fits. We also just watched the Wonder Woman animated series by DC Warner last night, and I think it kind of fits in with it because they never really explain Paradise Island in this book. Yeah. Its origin, but that movie did, and now that we just watched it yesterday, and then coming into this, and then Amazon's coming back, I don't know, I kind of like them being together, like they kind of fit.
I definitely love Wonder Woman kind of coming to the Amazon people and being like, we need to stand up for this boy baby. I think that's very interesting as far as a dynamic for those characters. So, yeah. Any last thoughts?
I think we can go on and then drag on and bore people to death, so I think we should just cut it.
Oh, perfect. Well,
I'm going to give it a rating, though.
Oh, yeah.
Normally I rate between 1 to 10. I am gonna give this.
Because you read through it.
It's you know what? In general, I always my safe bet of something that's has decent art and a decent story and slightly better is always an 8.5 in general. Yeah. So it's an 8.5 for me.
Yeah, I think for me I'd give it an 8 because the last issue for me was definitely a 9 or a 9.5. So this one, kind of pulling back a little bit, was probably an 8 for me.
The past 5 issues I gave 9s.
Yeah. This was probably the weakest for a while, but still really good in comparison to a lot of comics. So we're going to be doing a lot of these first impression videos. We want to do more comics. We'd like to get into TV shows, movies, things like that. If there's something you want to see, video games, right? If there's something you want to see, let us know in the comments below. Like and subscribe. This has been. You want to say your name one more time?
Carl.
And Jason.